Hello, and thank you for watching my presentation. My name is Sarah Chicatano, and I will be looking at the discrimination in employment on the grounds of disability. Today I will be focusing on the case Thunder Bay Catholic District School Board versus the Ontario English Catholic Teachers Association as heard by the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal. This presentation will have 4 parts to it: the case facts, the applicable legislation, the analysis and decision, and the conclusion and opinion. Next, we will be looking at the people who are involved. The main people in this case are Miss A, an elementary school teacher employed by the Thunder Bay Catholic District School Board, and the Thunder Bay Catholic District School Board itself, as well as the union, the Ontario English Catholic Teachers Association. The facts of the case. Miss A, the griever, claimed that she has a severe hearing disability that required the purchase of hearing aids for both ears, as well as a classroom and job accommodation. Miss A purchased the hearing aids over the duration of months on her own and submitted multiple invoices and medical documentation to the board for reimbursement, but the board said that they would not be reimbursing her for these items. The association, OECTA, claims that the board failed to accommodate a disability under the Ontario Human Rights Code, and in addition to this has acted contrary to the Management Functions Clause of the collective agreement. Ms. A was seeking reimbursement of the cost of her hearing aids, a letter of apology from the board, and any other damages assessed by the arbitrator over the duration of this time it is taken to be assessed. The board, on the other hand, has denied any of the accusations of violating the collective agreement, code, and any legislation. According to the general policy, the board disputes any requirement to consider providing a disabled employee with personal bodily assistive devices, including digital hearing aids, glasses, and claims that the accepted Miss A's hearing impediment and made the appropriate adjustments and accommodations necessary for Miss A to perform in her environment. Case facts background. So Miss A was hired onto the Catholic District School Board here in Thunder Bay as a full-time permanent employee in 1996. She worked within the secondary schools for the next several years. Miss A was struggling with progressive hearing loss, and her current principal, Mr. Veneroux, who had been working with her for many years during this time, was aware of her condition and was accommodating towards it. Because of her progressive hearing loss, Miss A compensated with the purchase of an analog hearing aid, which was the available technology at the time, in 1991 at her own expense. By 2002 to 2003, she found her job to be difficult, even with the analog hearing device in her ear, due to background noise throughout the classroom. She claimed that it was difficult to be able to listen to her students because of the hum of electrical equipment, such as the furnace, the air conditioner, and the general commotion of the classroom. This made it difficult for her to address questions and concerns of her students, as well as distinguish between student voices and equipment noise, thus making her unable to adequately perform her job. Medical documentation supplied by Miss A's physician was given to the board and indicated that Miss A has Alport syndrome, a condition that deteriorates kidney function, vertigo, fluctuating hearing loss, and ringing in the ears, noting that her condition will continue to worsen over time. Due to this, Miss A was unable to continue work in a regular classroom and took a leave of absence in 2003. During this time, she upgraded her teaching qualifications to teach guidance, special education, and advanced English. Upon her return, she had requested that she be assigned to the same school where she was working prior to her leave of absence, which was much closer to home. This would help to accommodate Miss A with the risk of occasional episodes of dizziness due to driving over a long period of time, and the board accepted this request. On February 9, 2004, Miss A's audiologist wrote another report documenting that the deterioration of her hearing, followed by several recommendations to accommodate her work environment. This report suggested that Miss A is to be working in an environment where there would be less background noise and increase the ability to be able to interact with her students one-on-one, as well as purchase new hearing aid and directional microphone. Although these items would be beneficial to Miss A, they would cost her $1,500 each, which she was unable to afford herself at the time. In February 2005, the board assigned Miss A as a special education teacher, where she could work in close proximity with her students, as well as have a specialized classroom to accommodate her. Another report from her audiologist was sent to the board in July 2008 and stated that Miss A's hearing was decreasing and recommended that she would benefit from newer hearing aid technology. In July 2008, Miss A purchased digital hearing aid for her right ear that cost $28.20. About $500 of that was covered from the province of Ontario via its Assisted Devices program, leaving Miss A to pay herself personally out of her own pocket $2,320. Miss A did not inform the board of this purchase or ask for financial contributions, and in cross-examination agreed that she needed to wear the new digital hearing aid in her day-to-day personal activities. Next, we will look at the applicable legislation. Section 2.1 of the Human Rights Code explains that every person has a right to equal treatment with respect to occupancy of accommodation without discrimination because of a disability. The code also includes Section 5.1, noting that every person has a right to equal treatment with respect to his or her employment without discrimination, as well as Section 17.1. A person under this act is not infringed for the reason only that the person is incapable of fulfilling the essential duties attending the exercise of the right because of disability. The grievance was filed for reimbursement of digital hearing aids and expenses to accommodate a hearing disabled employee. Next, we're going to look at the accommodations. In 2008, Mr. Venereus, the principal at the time, requested that the board purchase a telephone designed for the hearing impaired and also notified the board of Miss A's new hearing aid device. The board responded back and agreed to accommodate Miss A and purchase the special telephone. In total, the phone and its fees cost just under $2,000, which the Assistive Devices program contributed $1,350, and the board paid the remaining $499. The board also went to the extent of making changes to Miss A's office space by providing her with soundproof material for the walls and a completely enclosed ceiling, costing the board about approximately $10,000. During the early months of the school year in 2009, Miss A's left ear had started to improve, so she was fitted for a new hearing aid device. This would cost about $2,147 after a $500 contribution from ADP, and she would use immediately for day-to-day purposes, both personal and work-related. After a number of reports sent from Miss A's physician to the board requested by Miss A, with regards to the purchases of the hearing devices, now in both ears, the board's manager of employee services replied and denied Miss A's request of reimbursement. The board believes that the hearing aids purchased by Miss A were fitted more to her personal lifestyle than an accommodation to perform the requirements of her job to satisfy workplace standards. There is no negotiated benefit plan that provides any cost or contributions to ongoing expenses for hearing aids. The board also argued that before applying any undue hardship tests, the use of the hearing aid must be shown to be for work-related purposes and pass an dominant purpose test to show that the devices are more related to work than activities of everyday living. Since Miss A testified that she uses her hearing aids for personal day-to-day matters, there was no evidence of personal economic hardship, nor was there any expectation that the board would cover her financials, indicating that she was intended to purchase them for herself, regardless of if they were going to financially support this. Now we are going to look at the analysis and the decision. The main concern with this grievance was that Miss A had more intention of purchasing these hearing aids for personal benefit rather than to accommodate for her job. The board made all the necessary accommodations to help Miss A successfully accomplish her job responsibilities as a teacher. It was ruled that the association's grievance is allowed in substantial part. It was declared that the board revise its policy to include consideration of such devices and the related expenses in the search of appropriate accommodations of a disabled teacher. Due to the absence of a claim of undue hardship, the board was also ordered to contribute to the costs of and ongoing maintenance for the digital hearing aids throughout the extent of their use in the course of Miss A's employment. In conclusion, I believe that the board did not violate the Human Rights Code and made the necessary accommodations to help Miss A over the many years she worked for the board. If these hearing devices were used strictly for work, Miss A would only use them during the time that she was there, but she had stated that she wears them from day-to-day activities. In the end, Miss A, regardless of needing them for employment or not, would have purchased these digital hearing aid devices to be able to communicate not only in a work environment, but in her personal day-to-day lifestyle. It was made clear from the very by her physician that she would suffer from severe hearing loss and it would only get worse with time. I do not disagree to the full extent of the conclusion to this case. However, I do believe that only some financial assistance should be given to employees who work for the board with regards to an item such as hearing aid devices. In this case, employees of the board should only be given a certain percentage of coverage for items, and once that percentage has been spent, employees would be expected to cover any remaining costs for such items going forward within that certain period of time. This could be something similar to eyewear coverage. Main benefits would have something with regards to contacts and glasses for those whose eyes worsen over time. This would be a similar thing that they would be able to add with regards to hearing devices. I have my references here if anybody wants to take a look at the case on their own time. Thank you for listening, and I hope that everybody is staying safe and healthy in their homes. Have a great Easter weekend.